There are moments in history that split time in half. For Burkina Faso, that moment came in late 2022. A young military captain stepped forward, not with polished shoes or political promises, but with a burning conviction that his nation deserved more. Ibrahim Traoré didn't walk into power. He stormed into it, carried by frustration, hope, and the rising voices of a forgotten people. Before Traoré's emergence, Burkina Faso was collapsing under the weight of endless insecurity. Towns in the north and east were virtually erased from the map by extremist violence. Families fled in the night, leaving behind homes, businesses, memories. Over 2 million people became internally displaced. Entire regions lived without schools, hospitals, or functioning local government. Terror reigned, and silence followed. Citizens cried for help, but their voices echoed unanswered through the halls of a distracted government. French military bases dotted the land, claiming to protect, yet the attacks intensified. Roads were ambushed. Markets turned to ashes. Trust in leadership evaporated like morning mist in the Sahel sun. In the chaos, a new face emerged. Young, assertive, unshaken. Ibrahim Traoré was just 34 when he led a coup that shocked the world. But to many Burkinabe, it wasn't a betrayal of democracy. It was the rebirth of dignity. Streets once emptied in fear now overflowed with chanting crowds. Mothers ululated. Youths danced on tanks. For the first time in years, hope had a face. What followed was more than a change of leadership. It was a cultural reset. Traoré's first bold move was severing military ties with France. He demanded their troops leave, and they did. To some, it was madness. To others, it was sovereignty restored. French flags were replaced with Pan-African banners. Burkina Faso aligned itself with Mali and Niger in an unprecedented regional coalition of military-led governments. Together, they spoke a new language, one of self-defense, solidarity, and defiance of foreign dominance. Internally, Traoré wasted no time restructuring national defense. He launched mass recruitment drives, forming the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland. Armed with basic training and a burning desire to defend their land, these civilians became the backbone of a new security model. The war against insurgency became personal, local, relentless. And slowly, change began to show. Villages once ghosted by terror lit up at night again. Roads reopened. Farmers cautiously returned to their fields. Children resumed learning beneath mango trees where schools once stood. The healing was raw and unfinished, but it had begun. Yet Traoré's leadership wasn't without controversy. He suspended political parties, postponed elections, and tightened media regulations. International organizations raised concerns. Some Western powers imposed sanctions. But domestically, support remained unusually high. Why? Because for the first time in decades, many Burkinabe felt seen. They felt like the government was not in the capital. It was among them. One of the most visible transformations happened not in policy, but in pride. Under Traoré, a new national identity began to emerge. Social media exploded with portraits of a young leader draped in national colors. Artists painted murals, rappers dropped tracks, and university debates centered not on colonial thinkers, but on African unity, dignity, and resistance. The youth reclaimed their narrative. Economically, the path has been rough. Isolation from some international partners meant limited aid and investment. But Burkina Faso began shifting focus to local industries, agriculture, and mining reforms. Traoré promised the country's gold and cotton would serve its people first, not foreign corporations. Whether these promises will be fulfilled remains to be seen, but the intention sent a message. We are not beggars. We are builders. The symbolism of his leadership is powerful. Traoré still wears his military fatigues. He speaks directly to the people. No teleprompter, no script, just fire, frustration, and the language of the streets. His presence, raw and unfiltered, contrasts sharply with the polished suits of past regimes. To many, he represents a rare thing in African politics, a man who talks and acts like the people he leads. But the road ahead is uncertain. Terror threats remain. The economy is fragile. Democracy is paused. And Traoré, despite his popularity, holds power through military means. Critics warn that revolutionary leaders can become autocrats, that today's liberator can become tomorrow's suppressor. History has seen this before. Still, one cannot deny that Burkina Faso has changed. It has changed from silence to shouting, from fear to resistance, from dependency to defiance. And at the center of this shift stands one man, young, determined, and unpredictable. Whether Ibrahim Traoré becomes a legend or a lesson remains unwritten. But one thing is certain, Burkina Faso will never be the same again. Its people have tasted what it feels like to stand up, to speak back, to demand more. And that taste, once acquired, is never forgotten. In the end, this is not just a story about a captain. It's about a country reclaiming its breath. It's about farmers who no longer run at night. Teachers who open classrooms without fear. It's about a generation who dared to believe that change didn't have to come from abroad.